This is like having Hermione in your party and you absolutely don't want to utilize her. Come on, guys. I feel like this is like an SNL skit. Like, you remember like the Hurley Hugh boys? Like, just give him a chance. He's a good, clean boy. Just let him sleep in your bed. That's kind of where we're at with trying to get Marcille to do really anything other than slow them down.
I am Noxiddar!
Hey everyone, how's it going? Noxiddar here, and welcome to the next reaction in the English dub of Delicious in Dungeon. If I look at all tired, it's probably because it's not even 7 a.m. and I'm waking up to get started with an anime reaction. I have 2 feet of snow outside my door. I can't go anywhere. I'm trapped here. I could think of no better way to spend my morning than to look at the delicious culinary designs of absolutely creative endeavors from going down into a dungeon. That was some wild purple prose. I don't even know if what I said made sense. So about the English dub, I want to make it clear, like, my intentions for watching the English dub really come from, as I talked about in the last episode, Emily Rudd posted on her Instagram the casting sheet that showed this was her first VO for an anime, and I really wanted to support that because watching the One Piece live action really was kind of the catalyst for starting this reaction journey. It made me want to react to the anime, which I am watching in the original Japanese, by the way. What's interesting, and I was thinking about this when I was writing comments, replying to people earlier, is the idea that right now there's like ongoing drama and contention, especially in the English dub community, because of all of the things happening with localizers just absolutely bastardizing original translations. I don't know if I've really encountered any of that from the first episode. I know I've had people point out some differences in things that are said. It's kind of like now I'm kind of navigating a minefield of an international incident. I just want you to know I'm aware of it. I'm not gonna sit there and I'm not gonna hall monitor between what is said in the original Japanese and what is said in the English. What I would actually like to do after I watch the entire season 1 and react to it with English dub, I'd like to go back and take my favorite moments and highlights from the show and actually react to them in their original Japanese. Don't think I owed you that explanation, but I'm more than happy to give it. So without any further ado, episode 2 of Delicious in Dungeon.
What you cooking there? It smells amazing. It's your birthday, remember? I made all the recipes you love. Wow, you made them all? Every single dish. See? I whipped up all of your favorites.
I was gonna say, it couldn't be me. I remember being 5 years old, and when my mother took me to the daycare that I went to, I let everybody in the premises know it was my birthday. I'm 5 years old. Like, I was telling people in their 30s that have experienced, 6 times more life than I have. This is a big deal. I am 5. All right. Listen, you pay taxes, but I am 5. So couldn't be me. I'd let everybody know it was my birthday. I'd never forget.
Fresh from the bowels of the dungeon. Ah! I had a nightmare. That's what I smelled in my nightmare. Can you guys smell that too?
Yep, the party across the way is making breakfast.
They're having salted pork on buns? It's not fair.
Real food. Yeah, right.
These days, the diet of young adventurers is a travesty.
Oh, here
You
we
eat
go.
bread, dried meats, and wine. It's 'cause your body's craving fat, that's why.
It's 'cause I don't want to eat monster.
Today, we'll hunt monsters that are rich in fat. Eggs are filling, nutritious, the perfect food. So, if you spot any eggs around, grab them.
So I said in the last episode, towards the end, it really feels like I'm just watching a cooking show where they just happen to be traveling through a dungeon. And I have to say, this show was both simultaneously exactly what I thought it would be, titled Delicious in Dungeon, and unexpectedly not at all what I expected it to be, being called Delicious in Dungeon. Also, when I was making my little folder to put my recordings in, I always shorten everything. So like, for example, Percy Jackson, PJ, One Piece, OP. And I put Delicious in Dungeon, D&D. And I kind of just sat back in my chair. I was so proud of myself. Like I had made a discovery. Like I was 5 years old. And I was like, holy cow. It's like Dungeons and Dragons.
The body of a chicken. The tail of a snake. With spurs sharp as knives and loaded with venom. Basilisk, the king of snakes.
That's a basilisk?
I always loved monsters that were a mix of more than one species. By the way, here's a fact about the cockatrice and basilisk. Same family, different species.
Oh, right. This is the halfway transition from a dinosaur.
There's one. The eggs look freshly laid, too.
But are they supposed to be this squishy?
The cry of the basilisk.
It's the party with the grill.
Oh. Was. Yo, this music sounds like the battle music from Monster Hunter. This is how I play Monster Hunter too. Oh my.
Spread your arms and legs out wide to look huge, then do a crazy yell to sound threatening.
How about we pretend we don't know him?
Dude, Joe Chuck is such a vibe. Oh my gosh.
But it's still one body. So if you attack both heads at the same time, you'll split its attention in two directions. Confusing the whole body.
All right, I'll bite. That's actually clever.
Did he get poisoned?
Yes. Laios! Senshi says he has an antidote.
Actually, I was planning to use it for lunch today.
I like how every single party makeup that we've seen so far looks eerily representative of each other also. It doesn't come out and directly say it, but this very much feels almost like it harkens back to an MMO, especially like an Eastern MMO where like certain classes are gender locked. And so you have like very distinct looks for those classes as well. I can't help but like shake that feeling as I'm watching through this. Like we've got our blonde elf type, our warrior type, our halfling type. I assume he's a halfling, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
First, you gotta chop off the tail and feet. Parboil it for a sec, then pluck the feathers.
Whoa! Looks like normal chicken.
It's like something the dining hall serves.
This really does taste exactly like chicken meat.
Trying for 3 months to get past this part of the dungeon. But the same monsters wipe us out every single time.
There it is. It's like an MMO. It's like dancing around it. Yeah, there's like some extreme video game logic going on here, and I'm here for it. That was the unexpected part of it, to be honest.
Would you please pick up the pace a little?
Just cast a healing spell.
I'm not slowing us down. See, nothing's broken. I can walk.
Acting tough isn't helping one bit. You'll just end up really hurting yourself, and then you'll be a burden on the party. We'll have to deal with those pesky big bats.
I can take care of big bats with my magic.
No, it's fine.
We could take the secret path. There's lots of traps, but few monsters.
I have spells that can disarm traps.
Nah, don't bother. It's faster to let Chillchuck handle him.
Oh.
She wants to be useful. Come on, guys.
I know of a spot nearby where mandrakes grow.
Oh! I know all about harvesting mandrakes. Leave everything to me.
This is like having Hermione in your party and you absolutely don't want to utilize her. Come on, guys. I feel like this is like an SNL skit. Like you remember like the Hurley boys? Like, just give him a chance. He's a good, clean boy. Just let him sleep in your bed. That's kind of where we're at with trying to get Marcille to do really anything other than slow them down.
You can't just pull a mandrake out because it'll scream. If you hear it, you'll either go insane or worse, die.
I mean, Neville Longbottom turned out all right.
First, we need one well-trained dog and one leash. The dog will run to you and pull the mandrake out.
What happens to the dog?
It dies.
That's horrible.
If you just cut their heads off first, they won't scream.
Have you ever tried to do this like how your book's telling you?
No, I felt sorry for the dog. What was I thinking? Trying to get them to believe how the book says to pick a mandrake when I never tried that way before.
Yeah, book smarts isn't everything, is it, Marcille?
I'll show them the book's method is the right way. Then they'll see.
Oh, great.
I forgive you. Now what can I use instead of a dog?
Oh, great. Wake up the whole forest.
Now I know using a big bat instead of a dog is a stupid idea.
True.
Marcille!
That's a strong bet.
Is she dead?
I like how he asks it as more as more of an inconvenience and not like any sort of like concern. This would be kind of horrifying experience if it weren't also for the fact that this seems to follow some kind of like video game logic. Now that I have that idea locked into my brain, this English dub feels more like I'm listening to a Discord call work through questing together in an MMO. And I love that. I want to hear his delivery here again. There is not a lick of concern.
Marcille!
I guess there's concern right there.
Is she dead?
Perfect.
You used a big bat instead of a dog, huh? That's stupid.
I never would have expected the rogue to be the voice of reason, but here we are. Or a thief. I don't know. I'm not sure what class he is. Something like that.
When I heard my party call me a bird and I freak out. I
Yeah.
do what I did to get back at them and make them grovel at my foot.
Why, you rotten...
Take it easy.
If I feel like I'm in a way and not helpful, it makes me real sad.
The deeper we get in here, the tougher the monsters. We need your magic to keep us all safe. I don't want you wasting your power when we're just 3 floors down. We all have strengths and weaknesses. And when things get crazy, I'm gonna need you to be ready. Until then, we can take care of everything else. We like to feel useful too.
I love situational humor. We're having a very sentimental moment. How many times have you been in a situation where you just don't feel that you're able to offer anything and you really want to? People just seem to do things without you. I kind of felt like this was a lot of the relationship I had with my dad when I was a kid. He kind of just did things on his own, and even when I offered help, like he would never take it. He's very much one of those kind of people where it's like, I know how to do this and I'm going to do this and it will get done. But I like here how they qualified it as like, you do play a vital role. We're just so early on in our journey that we need to take more practical solutions and not just expend you. Because that's the thing, right? In a fantasy setting, magic is always, it's kind of like having your own game genie, if we're going to go back to Game Logic or Game Shark, or you know, which I hear is making a comeback, by the way. You know, you've got like these cheat codes programmed in where you can literally just rewrite the code. You can alter the matrix, as it were. Reality itself bends to your will. And yeah, maybe you don't need to use that to smack the side of a tree and send a boatload of bats out your way to pull a mandrake out of the ground and screaming and waking up all denizens of the forest, while also coming and attacking you, which everybody knows in PvP, you target the healer first. So of course, naturally, she's a prime target for every bit of aggro. I hope she realizes the gravity of the role that she does play. Information and knowledge is valuable. Without practical experience and without really thinking about common sense approach to things, they're going to have a very short trip. I'm still like not quite sure if this is a video game world, but there are things that just very specifically feel like they would be out of place in a real world sense. I say real world, even though it is still fantastical, but it makes complete sense. Especially like these interactions and the way people talk about things, if it were coming from like an MMO kind of sense, you know, coming across other parties, people that have talked about how they got stuck in certain parts and they've just been here doing the same thing for months. Like all of these things would seem kind of like pretty particular outside of that idea. Until otherwise, I'm currently married to the idea that this is like some kind of video game logic that we're using to tell this story. To me, that was the unexpectedly brilliant part of it. I'm sure there are other maybe animes out there that do something similar or do something even more overt, but I like the subtle tones here. To me, this is a unique experience. I'm still very new and haven't watched a lot of anime outside of like dabbling with the big three. All right, let's go ahead and get back to it. Just some thoughts that I had while I was watching this.
The one with Marcille's mandrake is less bitter and more velvety.
It is good.
The basic rule of cooking is the more effort you put in, the better the taste. I
Oh,
was so hell-bent on being efficient, I totally forgot that fact. My apologies, Marcille. I saved the tastiest parts for you.
Oh, come on, it looks good. Well,
I don't want it!
she should really consider herself fortunate to be surrounded by so many culinary connoisseurs, as it were. Is that even the right term? Probably not. You'll let me know in the comments, though. Thanks in advance.
Only step where I just stepped.
Oh, man. I was going to say I'd forget.
Open your ears and step where I tell you to! Wait! Fire trap spray oil and it won't stop till you move your dang foot!
Kakiage! We're having tempura for lunch today.
From now on, when we're dealing with traps, you have to swear you'll do exactly what I tell you!
I swear I'll do what you say. And I'll help if you want.
Look, we each have a specialty, don't we? You cook, I disarm traps and pick locks. Marcille magics.
What about Laios?
Oh, we can use that big blade from the trap in the ceiling to chop the meat.
Hold on! We don't know if that trap will react the same way!
Since I'm no good at dealing with traps, I'll leave trap stuff to the expert. Cooking's my specialty, so you have to do whatever I say now. Those are the terms we agreed to.
I love that he threw that back at him. It's interesting that to see this dynamic of like, we're working together, but we're also like very distinct and individualistic in our expression. For example, you have a Chilchuck who's so serious, like Laios says, about taking everything very serious, stressing about it because one mistake and they're dead. And then you have Senshi over here, who is basically like, every single trap that we trigger can be used as part of the inspiration in the preparation of our meal. I can't stress to you enough how much I love that. I love how everybody has these very distinct personalities, and I love how they have that interplay with each other. This is so much fun to watch.
Go on, you got this.
If the heat's too low, it's gooey. With too much heat, it burns right away.
Then it's not your specialty after all. This batch looks okay. And it's ready.
Oh man, that looks so good.
And for the record, the way you handle traps is amazing. You sure know your stuff. The day we go our separate ways will be a sad day for me.
When we get some downtime, I guess I can teach you a little about traps.
Meat cannot replace bread, and bread cannot replace meat, but combine them, and they can be quite delicious. So it is with meals and people. Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh my gosh, I like that. I really like the theme of this episode, where it's talking about, you know, usefulness, but not only usefulness, but a willingness to learn. For example, we had like Marcille, who had the answers, but she didn't quite have like the efficiency that Senshi had. But then when she took it into her own hands, granted, she, by her own admission, stupid. The fact that it also turned out, and he made the point that more effort makes for a better meal, makes for a better taste. Even he, very much about doing things the most efficient way, had to admit that she actually helped prepare the better meal. And then to have Chilchuck, who is probably one of my favorites, because I feel like he really is the voice of reason of the bunch, where everybody else kind of lets sometimes their passions get them carried away with things, or sometimes it's just like too reluctant to like participate, so they kind of force themselves on the outside of the group, like with Marcille. Chilchuck's just along for the ride. This was actually the first time, granted it's only episode 2, that we've seen him kind of stressed out and put in a different position, because normally he's just so laid back and reserved. Half the time he's just walking around with us. He's just walking around taking it all in. So to see him kind of in his element doing his thing, that was also really good. And I'm so glad that the big overarching theme of this episode was appreciation. Ultimately, that's what I try to do with my own reaction channel, is I don't necessarily consider what I do analyzing. I really consider what I do appreciation. Because like for me, analyzing, you need some form of like background and or expertise on a subject matter. And I really don't have any of that. So what I tend to do is I really just tend to appreciate, whether that's voice acting, sound design, story elements, writing, music, or just really how all of those elements come together. I try to structure my commentary on what I love about something. And so like you really quite often won't ever hear me say what I don't like about something. I make these videos for me. My hope is that in some point when I come back and I look at it, I can watch it and I can see all the things that I enjoyed about it, not all the things I didn't. And while that might make for a stronger watch and maybe even a more like realistic reaction, it's not what I want to be entertained by. So I am thankful for all of you that have said and made a point to point out, you know, that you like the reactions and the way that I do things. It's so encouraging to me, and it, you know, it makes me look forward to the next episode. And I'm glad that we got a really good one with a really strong message. Well, that's all I have for you today. I'll see you in the next one. This is Noxiddar, out.